All right, let's jump right into a question that I think stumps even the best leaders out there. How do you take a company's core values, the words they put on the wall, and turn them into something you can actually measure, something you can act on? Let's get into it.
I mean, really think about it. It's one thing to say your organization values integrity, but how do you put a number on that? How can you really tell if your team is being agile or if they're just, saying the right words? This is the exact spot where so many incredible intentions just kind of fizzle out.
We've all seen this, right? You walk into a lobby, and there they are, these beautiful posters listing values like excellence or service. But look, if those values don't actually change how people behave day to day, then they're really just expensive wallpaper. They become slogans, and that's the trap we're going to talk about today.
So how do you bridge that gap between the poster and the reality? Well, we're going to dive into this amazing case study from the Royal University of Bhutan. They were facing this exact challenge, but they tackled it with a level of ambition and creativity that honestly gives us a blueprint for pretty much any organization.
And this slide just nails the problem perfectly. On the one hand, you've got this incredible, powerful aspiration to be a global beacon. Wow. But on the other hand, the reality was, they had no real way to check if their core values were actually being lived out. And that disconnect, right there, that's the values performance gap.
This is where the whole mindset shifts. See, the solution wasn't just to talk about values more. No, it was to measure them. To treat character with the same seriousness, the same academic rigor as calculus. I mean, come on, that is an absolute game changer of an idea.
So how in the world did they pull this off? They developed something called the ASIPRE framework. It's a system, and it's built on 3 core pillars that are designed to make all those invisible values, well, visible, tangible, and totally trackable. This is where the theory gets real, folks.
Okay, so it breaks down pretty simply into 3 big steps. First, there's the behavioral matrix. This is all about defining what a value like integrity actually looks like in someone's daily actions. Second, a digital ecosystem. Basically a central hub to gather all the data on these actions. And third, and this is the secret sauce, a recognition loop. It uses all that data not to punish people, but to encourage and reward them. It's about propulsion, not policing. Genius. So let's see what this actually looks like. The matrix takes a fuzzy value, like agility, and makes it super concrete. For a faculty member, it means you adopt a new digital tool within a week. Bam. For staff, service isn't just a feeling, it means you're responding to student emails in under 24 hours. All of a sudden, these aren't just ideas anymore. They're behaviors you can actually see and measure. Of course, a transformation this huge needs a really smart, practical plan. The university didn't just snap its fingers and make this happen. Nope, they built a very clear 4-phase blueprint to turn this cultural change into a reality.
The whole rollout was super methodical. They started with protocol, which is basically writing the rulebook, the library of behaviors. Then they ran a pilot, a 1-semester beta test in just 2 colleges to work out the kinks. Next up was platform, where they built the digital tools and trained up value champions to lead the charge. And finally, propagation. This is where it all becomes official. Part of performance reviews, part of student transcripts, it gets woven right into the DNA of the university. So after all that work, what's the big payoff? Well, it turns out that when you start measuring values, it creates this ripple effect across the entire campus culture, and it ends up benefiting everyone in some really specific, tangible ways. Just think about who wins here. For students, this is huge. They don't just graduate with a degree, they graduate with actual proof of their ethical character. That makes them way more employable. For faculty and staff, they get a clear North Star, a shared understanding of what's expected, which just cuts down on so much workplace friction. And for the university itself, it gets hard data to prove it's living its values, which is a massive, massive advantage for things like international accreditation. But really, at the end of the day, the vision is so much bigger than just improving campus life. It's about fundamentally changing what education produces, transforming students from people who just hold a degree into the kind of ethical leaders our world so desperately needs. So what's the big takeaway from all this? I think it's that just having values is not enough, not even close. The real commitment, the real work, is in living them in a way that can be seen, that can be measured, and that can be improved.
And this quote just wraps it all up perfectly, doesn't it? Our values are only as strong as our ability to measure them, and our future is only as bright as our commitment to live them. So I guess the question for all of us is, in our own jobs, in our own organizations, are we truly measuring what matters?